Mark your calendars, Dragon Ball fans, because next year 2024 is set to be a big one. It's not only the 40th anniversary of Dragon Ball, which began in 1984, but a brand new Dragon Ball animated series is set to begin. Dragon Ball DAIMA, which was just announced at New York Comic Con. Today, I'm going to take you through the trailer to analyze it bit by bit. We first start with a countdown over the 7 magic Dragon Balls before going through the history of Dragon Ball, beginning with the manga and going all the way to the latest movie, Dragon Ball Super Hero, finally landing in 2023 and showing that 2024 will be the next big year for Dragon Ball. The next notorious thing is this tree. It's clearly in the hellish world, some sort of infernal location. It's not clear if it's an actual tree, though it does look to have roots. This tree towers tall, and from within it we can see buildings. This, I believe, will be the HQ for the villains. Trees sprouting buildings and being used as headquarters aren't actually a new thing in Dragon Ball. In fact, something that this reminds me quite a lot of is the various demon headquarters in Dragon Ball Heroes and Dragon Ball Online, such as Demigra and Mechikabora's castles. This won't be the last time I mention Dragon Ball Heroes, because there's a bit of imagery here and there that reminds me of those games. The idea of castles and towers sprouting from trees goes all the way back to Dragon Ball Online, with Shokolai Tower, a tower that was used by an evil version of Master Korin, used to cultivate the power of the Namekian trees, and the Dark Sensu Beans. I think the team behind Dragon Ball DAIMA is taking inspiration from the past of the series. As we move forward, we see that in fact the original creator of the story, Akira Toriyama, is heavily involved in this. It has always been a little ambiguous just how involved Toriyama has been with the previous Dragon Ball Super anime. He released a press statement where he explained that he's putting a lot of effort into this, more so than he usually does. He's also contributing with character designs, of course, par for the course for Toriyama. We continue forward, and once again, this kind of thing reminds me of Dragon Ball Heroes. With the translucent circulating lights, we get a lot of that kind of imagery in Dragon Ball Heroes. You can also see a throne down below. This of course brings back ideas of things such as the Demon King Piccolo, which is interesting, because the Demon King Piccolo's name in Japanese is Piccolo Daimyo. Daimyo is a title, but Daima means evil, as explained by Toriyama in the press release. When we move up, we see our 2 new villains, which should be very familiar to Dragon Ball and Akira Toriyama fans, is the duo of a short character and a tall character. Akira Toriyama loves that sort of thing. He's done it with Jason Birder, Nappa and Vegeta, even Babidi and Dabura. I want to make special note of Dabura and Babidi though, because if you notice, these characters aren't just looking through the history of Dragon Ball, they're exclusively looking at the Buu saga. And above that, though we get glimpses of things such as Super Buu, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, and Ultimate Gohan, most of the images are from Babidi's time as the main villain. A lot of shots in his spaceship, over his spaceship, and a surprising amount of shots dedicated to him and Dabura, especially given how little time we spent with them in the original arc. The right one is very clearly some sort of Kaioshin. He has the mohawk just like Shin does, but something to note is that not only does he have a cape, something that none of the other Kaioshin do, but he doesn't have a Potara. So I have a couple of theories here. Akira Toriyama has explained previously the origin of the Kaioshin. The Kaios and Kaioshin are born by sprouting like fruits from the World Core Tree. This is a special planet where the Kaioshin reside. Golden apples become Kaioshin and regular apples become Kaios. However, it is explained that evil Kaioshin can be born, and those become Ma-Kaioshin. They are then sent to the demon realm to rule over, so perhaps this could be one of them. After all, he's hanging out with a demon. But above that, I think his clothing gives us a little bit of a clue. Him and his little demon friend are wearing capes just like Dabura does. This side shot gives us a little bit of a better angle, with the hooded-like cape going over the shoulders and dropping back down. The only other character that wears capes like this, I'm pretty sure, is Dabura. So, could they be related? Could they be part of the demon realm? Some of you may have noticed the consistency of the word Ma Ma Kaioshin, Majin Buu, Daima. The word Ma by itself could mean demon or evil spirit. Of course, this doesn't necessarily mean that this Kaioshin is in fact a Ma Kaioshin. That concept has just been something we've had for a long time, and Toriyama hasn't really played with just yet. Some of the notable images in the background are Goku and Majin Vegeta fighting, the Earth Spirit Bomb, Babidi's spaceship, Babidi and Dabura, and Kaioshin and the others looking worried at the spaceship. Here we get a little bit of a better look at the demon. He holds a staff and has something that kinda looks like clown makeup. Some people have been saying that he reminds them of Demigra, another character designed for the game Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1. He also has some sort of clown aesthetic, so perhaps this is another clue to just who he could be. As the camera rotates, which I will add looks amazing, we can see that the character on the left is in fact a Kaioshin, as he's wearing the exact same clothes, down to the orange sash, that many of the other Kais wear. The words "an all-new series" appear on the screen, as we get a shot of a spaceship flying over the previously mentioned castle. This spaceship looks to be quite important, as it shows up many more times over the course of the trailer. It doesn't really look like any other spaceship we've seen in the series. It has spikes like a Namekian one, and some bulbs, but the color scheme is completely different. We will see as we move on that Namekians are involved somehow, so maybe this is a reconstructed, remade Namekian spaceship of some sort. It wouldn't be the first time they do something like that. A story never before told. Funny enough, when this shot first appeared in the trailer, I thought, wow, is the little guy actually giant to be looking at the spaceship like that? Or is the spaceship some sort of spy droid, like Dr. Gero had? Looking at it now, I realized that I was probably being silly. I think what is going to happen here is Goku and the others are gonna board that spaceship and travel to this new dimension or planet. And this demon guy is gonna become aware of it and watch them arrive in some sort of crystal ball or something like that. Maybe it's a hologram. Here is our first shot at Kami's lookout, with the 7 Dragon Balls appearing and Shenron being summoned before he asks just what the wish will be. Shenron and the spaceship were pretty obviously CGI, so it looks like we're going to get a mix of both CGI and traditional animation this time around, something we should be kind of accustomed to at this point. There was always that question up in the air after Dragon Ball Super Superhero if we would just be getting CGI Dragon Ball from now on. I find it weird that this wish is being made at Kami's lookout, because it seems to be implying that it's because of this wish that Goku and the others get turned into kids. If this happened at Kami's lookout, then it must have been pretty empty, because Dende can actually stop people from going up to the lookout if he wishes. Although that rule has been ignored. In fact, it was ignored in the same series this is very obviously taking a bit of inspiration by, Dragon Ball GT. At the start of that show, Mai, Pilaf, and Shu, the first 3 villains to face Goku in Dragon Ball, make it out to Kami's lookout and use an old set of Dragon Balls to wish for Goku to get turned into a kid. The wish being made here is obviously very similar, though it doesn't look to be a new set of Dragon Balls, instead just the regular ones that were upgraded by Dende in the previous movie. Here we get our first shot at Goku and he looks amazing. We can really tell the new style of animation they're using, with vibrant colors, very much inspired by the manga, much more so than the anime. But there's something going on here, because Goku begins screaming, and Vegeta does too, and we get our first look at Kid Goku and Kid Vegeta. Dragon Ball 40th Anniversary. Like I said, this seems to be to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Dragon Ball. And I think it's quite appropriate. Why not go back and reflect on what used to be, by having Goku be a kid one more time and using the power pole. The 7 magic Dragon Balls go up to the sky and dissipate through Earth. Or perhaps the universe? Last time we saw Goku get turned into a kid in Dragon Ball GT, the Black Star Dragon Ball spread throughout the universe, threatening to destroy Earth if they weren't brought back. However, I don't think we're gonna have the same plotline here. In fact, I'm not even sure if we're going to go to more than one world. Akira Toriyama in the press release was talking about a mysterious new world, rather than worlds. So I think wherever they need to go, it'll be just the one place. Hopefully it's quite varied. Anyways, here is Kid Goku and Kid Vegeta, and quite a colorful place. At first I wasn't sure where they were, but as we get shown more and more of our heroes, you'll see that it's more than likely Capsule Corp or West City where they get turned into kids. Perhaps it's another one of Bulma's parties, which is why Dende wasn't at the lookout. Now here we get our first look at the other characters, and this is when I knew shit was really going to be crazy. Not only have Goku and Vegeta been turned into kids, but Chi-Chi, Bulma, and every other Z fighter too. These are brand new designs for the girls. A pink Chinese-style dress for Chi-Chi, and a sweater with a Capsule Corp necklace for Bulma. In the background, you can actually see that the servers, chefs, or whatever they are, aren't turned into kids. So whatever the phrasing of the wish was, had probably something to do with Goku and his friends. Because only them have been turned into kids, no one else. The fact that we can see those servers in the background does give us a hint to where this takes place, since the last time we saw a shot like this was during Battle of Gods at Bulma's birthday party. We have another look at someone getting turned into a kid, and that's Mr. Satan. No mustache, no nothing. He seems to be wearing the outfit he wore during Battle of Gods. Krillin, as people notice, is one of the few with the least amount of changes, since he is short as is. But we can see that he's wearing his wrist communicator that he uses as a police officer. They look to be in the back of Capsule Corp. Some more of our heroes that have been turned into kids include Android 18 and Marin. Last time we saw Marin was in the Dragon Ball Super manga, where she had finally grown up as we got to see her as a teenager. It took her a while, just like Goten and Trunks, but she is right back to where she used to be. At first, I thought Android 18 was wearing the same outfit she did during Battle of Gods. But looking at it further, it looks like it has some sort of collar, so maybe it's more similar to what she wore during Dragon Ball GT, where she wore a suit. You can see gifts in the background here, so I do believe this is probably Bulma's party, or maybe Bulla. Something curious to note is that we don't see either of the two other girls, Bulla and Pan. I think that if everybody has been turned younger, then perhaps they just disappeared, which makes the problem here a lot more pressing. More characters being turned into kids include Yamcha, Oolong, and Puar, with Yamcha having a brand new outfit. What's interesting is that we have actually already seen Oolong and Puar as kids, because they were children in Dragon Ball. Oolong was just 8 years old. Which is funny, because now he looks younger than he did during Dragon Ball. More characters getting turned into kids include Kaioshin and Kibito. During the leaks, back when we thought the show was still called Dragon Ball Magic, many of the rumors going around had to do with Kaioshin and Goku being the only two getting turned into kids, and having to go on this grand adventure as the main characters. I do believe he's going to be heavily involved, especially seeing how one of the enemies is a Kaioshin. I've seen many people saying that we aren't sure when this takes place, but this is a hint right here. Shin and Kibito are not fused, meaning this takes place after Battle of Gods, at the very least. I really don't think that we're going back in time. I think this takes place post Dragon Ball Super Superhero. We get a look at Kid Piccolo, who seems to have been enjoying a burger despite the fact that he doesn't need to eat. If you look closely, you can see that Piccolo's quote-unquote muscles are yellow rather than the pink from the anime. This has always been the case in the manga, but it was a recent change for Dragon Ball Super Superhero. So it looks like moving forward, perhaps we're going to be using more manga-inspired colors rather than the animes. This one caught me completely by surprise. Not only has the Ox King been turned into a kid, but he's wearing the helmet from Dragon Ball, or at least one very similar to it. We haven't seen Ox King with a helmet ever since Dragon Ball ended. In the manga, after we first meet him onwards, he only ever has the hat with the horns. So this is a cool addition. He also seems to have a cape, something he didn't wear since that first outfit either. Here is another unexpected one, Kid Master Roshi. He looks quite a bit like Krillin. Interesting enough, he doesn't gain any hair. In the flashbacks during Dragon Ball filler, we have seen Master Roshi with a full head of hair. But it is worth noting that in the manga, the only time we saw young Master Roshi, he didn't have any. Perhaps he just straight up couldn't grow any hair. Here's one that made people a little bit upset. It's Goten and Trunks being turned back into babies. They're younger than everybody else, which makes sense. If Goku's getting turned into a kid, then his kids will be even younger. But it is a little upsetting. I understand why people are mad. We have been asking for Goten and Trunks to grow up for the longest time, and we finally got it in Dragon Ball Super Superhero. And now we're back, even younger than they were before. I did notice that Goten grew back his hair to how it used to be prior to Superhero, while Trunks got his purple hair back. I guess Toei, Shueisha, Toriyama, whoever, just can't decide what Trunks' hair is actually supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be purple when he's young, and it eventually becomes blue? I don't know. I don't think it's that complicated though. Trunks is back wearing his kitty hat, which he wore when he was a baby during the Cell arc. These characters are hard to make out. The ones in the background are obviously supposed to be Kibito and Shin, they're wearing the Kai regalia. However, the left one seems to be Majin Buu because of the pointed boots and the pants, while the other one could be Piccolo, but since we can't see a cape, I think it's probably Gohan. Something to note here is that we don't see either of those characters properly in the entirety of the trailer. Hopefully we don't get an excuse like Majin Buu was sleeping or Gohan was studying again. This shot shows us Goku jumping out of some kind of structure. It is very obviously supposed to be Namekian, and at first I thought it could be Piccolo's home. Piccolo doesn't live in an area with palm trees, and this Namekian home seems to be way overgrown with moss. Whatever it is, it does seem like Namekians will play a role in this story. I'm actually gonna go on a limb saying that I think this shot takes place at Kami's lookout, because of one we'll see later on. Here we have another shot of that spaceship I mentioned earlier, going through some sort of portal, maybe to a new dimension or to a new planet. I do believe we see the planet they end up at here though. We get another bright shot of Kami's lookout completely in CGI with somebody in the middle. Who could this person be? This is the shot I was talking about previously. Because of the shape of the opening, I do believe this is the same Namekian house we were looking at earlier. Kami's lookout does have palm trees and the square pattern on the floor. Because of leaks, I do believe that Shin is going to be one of the main characters of the show here, and we get a proper look at his outfit. Its colors are different, a little bit more bright and manga inspired than the ones we're used to. Goku also gets a brand new outfit, but this one drapes over his legs like some kind of skirt, similar to the one he wore in Dragon Ball GT. In this shot here, we see just how small Goku has become. It's very obviously a modern Toriyama design, but it also seems like Master Korin didn't get turned into a child, just the main crew and the Ox King, I guess. I believe that in this shot, Goku is going to retrieve the power pole, because last time we saw it, it was still between Korin Tower and the lookout. Maybe get some senzu beans along the way. Another shot of Vegeta yelling at Goku. I think that Goku's probably not really gonna care that he got turned into a child, just like he did in GT, while everybody else is going to be freaking out. But here is the stuff everybody loves. Goku training with the power pole, and it looks amazing. That was another shot that happened at Kami's lookout, so obviously it's going to be an important location. This shot is one that took me by surprise. It's a Saiyan pod landing on Earth. It could be many different things. For example, a brand new character, maybe Broly, whose spaceship got repaired, Tarble, perfect time to bring him into the story, but I believe that it's probably just going to be a flashback to Goku arriving on Earth for the first time. After all, this is a story about him being a kid. I think it would be appropriate to look back. Here we have a shot of Bulma looking into some sort of decaying machinery. It's probably the spaceship from earlier. Maybe this is when they first find it and repair it, or it's after they crash somewhere and she has to stay behind and repair it. More shots of Goku training with a power pole, but this next shot is one that gave people a lot to talk about. The sun becoming a Dragon Ball. Toriyama did say that we would get some world-building mystery solved, so I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring here. I think that perhaps we're going to get an answer to how the Super Dragon Balls were created. What if that shot is Salama, the creator of the Super Dragon Balls, finally making them? The next shot here we see what looks to be an old Namekian, maybe the previously mentioned Demon King Piccolo, or it could be something else, a brand new villain. Or, let me continue with this crazy theory, what if this is Zalama creating the Super Dragon Balls? I think it's maybe unlikely. I don't think we'll ever get answers to that sort of thing, but maybe. Here we have a shot of Goku and Kaioshin sleeping at what I believe is Kami's lookout. It's pretty obviously a callback to Goten and Trunks sleeping while they were training to become Gotenks. Here is another shot of that spaceship, once again. It looks to be very important, arriving somewhere, and Goku flying off. This is the planet I believe is going to be the one we spent the most time with. That alien world Toriyama mentioned that is quite mysterious. At first I thought it could just be a place on Earth, but there's a bunch of floating rocks everywhere, and this two-tailed dinosaur is pretty different from the ones we see on Earth already. We see this planet a few more times over. This shot I thought was a little weird to include, since it looks to be just some sort of space diner, probably just an establishing shot, but this one is beautiful. I am a sucker for when Toriyama does giant buildings that overlook a planet. For example, in Dragon Ball Super Broly, we had King Vegeta's castle. This is just a better look at the villain's headquarters, I believe. This is another shot that reminded me somewhat of Dragon Ball Heroes, with a clock-like symbol in the middle. It's definitely on that same planet that I talked about earlier, with the floating platforms. And down below on the right-hand side, we can see the spaceship. I wonder who this character could be. Maybe a new angel, or perhaps it is the Kaioshin we saw earlier. It would be cool to get a female Dragon Ball villain. We haven't really had any of those in a really long time, unless you count Kefla and Kale. Another shot of Bobbity. It's very clear to me that whoever this demon guy is quite interested or maybe related to Bobbity and Bibbidi. Maybe he's getting revenge for his death. We have another shot here of the spaceship arriving at what looks like to be a brand new dimension, a different room with a fish on the other side. Very weird. Maybe there are clocks in the background. It's kind of hard to tell. We get another shot of that planet with the floating platforms. This time they have something that looks like a hut, a steaming onion maybe, while the villains, including the Kaioshin, watch more images of Bobbity. Quite a focus on him, which makes me believe that we're going to get much more magical related stuff in this series, instead of the sci-fi we've been getting as of late. We have more awesome animation in the form of Goku versus Vegeta in base forms. I will note to say that I don't think we're going to get any real forms or any new forms in this story. I think they're probably going to be sticking to base form Goku. Maybe Super Saiyan. This shot is quite strange because it's in the middle of the battle. As we look up to the sky, it could be Vegeta's Gallic gun from the next shot, but it's glowing gold and the Gallic gun is purple. I think maybe this is the first time Goku goes Super Saiyan in the story or something like that. We see a homage to the original beam clash between Goku and Vegeta with the Gallic gun and the Kamehameha. The angles are exactly the same. And finally, for the end shot, we have Goku fighting some sort of robot in this brand new outfit. I actually want to point out that for the entirety of the trailer, more or less, Goku was wearing the same shoes that had white laces. Here, he's actually wearing red laces, which is what he usually wears, and his bottoms look to be a little darker than his top. So this one looks more like a combination of his new Dragon Ball DAIMA outfit and his regular one. And there we get that signature Goku smirk, letting us know that he's ready for a brand new fight. And finally, the title screen. Dragon Ball DAIMA. I'm not gonna lie, this isn't my favorite logo. I think I prefer how stylized Dragon Ball GT and even Z and Super have been. DAIMA just being a font is a little lame. The yellow, I believe, is pretty obviously supposed to be Goku, specifically in the colors he wears as a kid, but it fades into this purple, perhaps representing Kaioshin, since the two of them are supposed to be the leads of the story. Toriyama also left us with a new message. Hello, I'm Akira Toriyama. I'm currently working on a new Dragon Ball. The title is Dragon Ball DAIMA. DAIMA is a made-up term, which in Japanese characters would be Daima, or in English would be something like evil. Due to a conspiracy, Goku and his friends are turned small. In order to fix things, they'll head off to a new world. It's a grand adventure with intense action in an unknown and mysterious world. That's what I meant when I said that Akira Toriyama specifically mentions a new world. I think we're just going to be visiting this one planet. Since Goku has to make up for his petite size, he uses his Noibo, the power pole, to fight. Something not seen in a long time. This makes me wonder if Goku and the others will have their powers slashed. Perhaps that's the reason they don't go Super Saiyan or any of the other forms. In GT, Goku also had problems using his full power after getting turned into a kid. I came up with the story and settings, as well as a lot of the designs. I'm actually putting a lot more into this than usual. In the previous Dragon Ball anime, Dragon Ball Super, Toriyama was involved. He came up with ideas and designs, but he left most of the proper story to Toyotaro and the anime staff. So it looks like he actually is a lot more involved this time. Things will unfold that close in on mysteries of the Dragon Ball world. Hope you all enjoy these different from usual battles that are cute and powerful. I want to point out that Toribot, Toriyama's avatar, is actually wearing something we've never seen him wear before. Toriyama usually dresses Toribot in something related to what he's talking about, so I think this is probably a look into an outfit someone wears in the movie. More than likely a new character. It looks like he has some sort of weapon holstered. Anyways guys, that was pretty much everything for this video. I wanted to do a quick rundown of the trailer and analyze it bit by bit. Let me know if I missed anything or any theories you have in the comments below. I will be making a video talking about my feelings on this new anime sometime soon in the future. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and until we meet again. See ya!